few years back, I was in a rough place in life. I had just gone through a breakup with a woman I thought I'd marry someday. We were together for 5 years, and when it ended, I lost myself completely. I stopped eating properly, barely left my bed, and weekends felt like endless voids of silence in movies I couldn't even remember watching. One Saturday night, in my upstairs bedroom, had a couch and TV set up there, so I hardly ever watched anywhere else. My phone buzzed. It was my mom calling me for the 4th time that day. I couldn't bring myself to pick up. I knew she meant well, but I didn't want to hear questions about whether I'd eaten or gone outside. I ended up putting on some random horror movie with a cheap-looking thumbnail. About 20 minutes in, I realized the sound design was awful. Dialogue too quiet, then sudden sound effects so loud they nearly blew my ears out. But one sound in particular stood out, a sharp metallic clang. It wasn't connected to anything happening in the movie. No one was hitting metal, and it didn't match the timing of any scares. It was the exact same pitch and volume every time, repeating every minute like a glitch. I half ignored it until I paused the movie to use the bathroom. When I sat back down before hitting play, I heard it again, the same metallic clang. But the movie was paused. That's when I froze. Sound wasn't from the TV at all. 40 seconds later, the noise came again. My heart started pounding. I grabbed a knife from my desk and searched every room in the house. Nothing. As I climbed back upstairs, I heard it once more, softer this time, seemed to be coming from inside my room. When I noticed my windows were slightly open, pulled the curtain aside and peeked outside. In the middle of the backyard was one of my deck chairs, and standing beside it was a child. The figure was small, too small to be an adult. Kid was holding a piece of PVC pipe, banging it against the chair. As soon as I spotted him, he hit the chair again, almost as if to prove he'd been the source of the noise all along. I stepped away from the window, heart racing. Why was a kid standing in my yard for nearly an hour, silently hitting a chair? The thought terrified me more than if it had been an adult. I tried to rationalize maybe he was lost. I turned on the porch light and went to the back door, but something in my gut screamed not to open it. I checked through a small side window instead. That's when I saw them 2 men dressed in black, crouching right by my back door. My stomach dropped. One of them turned and made direct eye contact with me. I dropped the blinds and dialed 911 immediately. As I ran upstairs, the men started pounding on the back door. I locked myself in the bathroom, holding the knife, shaking uncontrollably. Someone tried the doorknob, then kicked the door hard enough to rattle it. I screamed that the police were already on the way, and after a moment, I heard footsteps running downstairs and the door slammed shut. The police arrived minutes later. They searched, but found nothing. Told me the involvement of a child made it particularly disturbing. It wasn't just a random break-in. Whoever those men were, kind and willing to go much further than typical criminals. I eventually moved out of that house, but I'll never forget the image of that child in my yard, silently holding a pipe in the dark. Number ***. Story 2. The ice cream truck ***. It was spring break last year. I was a college senior, exhausted from non-stop assignments. While most of my friends partied in Miami, I went home to rest. One Monday morning, I stuck to my usual routine, up at 6 a.m., gym bag ready. The drive was quiet, winding through residential neighborhoods. That's when I noticed it. An ice cream truck parked on the curb, engine off, no lights, in March, at 6:30 in the morning. No kids outside, chilly weather, school still in session. It felt out of place. On the way back from the gym. Hours later, the truck was still there, but this time, someone was inside. I slowed down, and the driver looked directly at me. He had a long, crooked nose and a scruffy beard, someone who looked like he lived in that truck. His stare was unsettling. Later that day, as I walked out to get the mail, my blood ran cold. The truck was parked across the street, 3 houses down, facing my home. He had followed me, went back inside, quietly upstairs to a guest room window. From there, I could see the truck clearly. It never stayed in one place, though it moved around the street every half hour, like it wanted to stay visible without being suspicious. Curiosity got the better of me. I found my brother's old binoculars and peeked through. What I saw made my heart stop. The driver wasn't just sitting there. He was looking back at me through his own binoculars. The second he realized I'd noticed, he slammed them down, started the engine, sped away. That night, I called the police. They said they'd send a patrol car, but nothing came of it. My parents told me not to worry. But at 3 a.m., I woke to faint music. The jingle of an ice cream truck. I sat frozen, then heard small clicks against my window. Pebbles. I forced myself to look. In my front yard stood that same man, and on either side of him, holding his hands, were 2 short figures. Children. I bolted from the room, woke my dad, and dialed 911. By the time we went outside, the man was gone. Weeks later. My mom told me about a missing persons case. 2 6-year-old twins had vanished from a nearby town. My mind immediately went back to that night, to those 2 small figures standing beside him in the dark. Story 3. The recorded calls. I work as a car sales associate. That means I answer calls at all hours, even unknown numbers, because every call could be a client. One night after 10 p.m., my phone rang. Unknown number. Normally I'd answer, but I was half asleep, so I let it go. A few minutes later, it rang again. Annoyed, I picked up. All I heard at first was static, thick, uneven fuzz, but underneath, I heard a voice. My voice. It was a recording of a conversation I'd had earlier that day with a client. Exact words, exact tone. But only my side of the call, not theirs. The next night, another call. Another recording of me from that day. The night after, the same. This went on for a week. Different numbers each time, but always the same things. Ticky. Recordings of my voice, cut from recent conversations. I started spiraling. I'd sit in my car to answer calls because I felt safer seeing all around me. I triple locked my doors, left lights on in every room, even reported it to the police, but they brushed it off. No direct threat, nothing they could act on. Then, suddenly, the calls stopped. For a few days, nothing. I should have felt relief, but instead, I grew even more paranoid. Had they given up, or were they waiting? A week later, I changed my phone number entirely, rebuilt my contacts, updated clients, the whole hassle. Then, late one night, my new phone rang. Unknown number. I answered, heart in my throat. It was the same static, my voice from earlier that day. This time, instead of hanging up, I spoke. I said, I don't know who you are, or why you're doing this. If it's money, I'll pay. Just leave me alone. I even gave them my address, desperate to end it. For the first time, someone responded. The voice was heavily distorted, but one word came through. That night, I loaded my handgun and sat at my kitchen table until morning. No one came, but the damage was done. The calls never returned, but I never recovered either. Months of therapy later, I still catch myself checking over my shoulder, wondering who recorded me and why.